So we're celebrating Laura's party, and literally as we're starting the dance party, the sheriff's department shows up and tells us we're on trust land and we're trespassing. So we are debating whether we're on BLM land or not. They came pretty aggressive at first, said we were all going to go to jail, and then we calmed them down and said that we weren't trying to break any rules or anything, and comparing maps and hopefully figuring this thing out so we don't all have to leave tonight. Quite a few people already have their state pass, so they paid the $15. Hopefully we're good.
Well, let's take our point of view. Okay, yeah, I'll walk you into it. I would like to hear that. I'll walk you into it. Well, you never have anybody back here.
I kind of have an idea based on some of the arguments last year.
Let him speak. Hold on. How you never have anybody back out here. Tell us how you got called. First of all, we're actually working in off-duty detail specific for state trust land that is explicitly enforcing all of their laws that they're asking us to enforce. So the idea then behind this is we're, first of all, this is not a thing. What I mean by that is it might have happened last year. I'm just saying to have this many people out here is just mind-blowing for us because realistically speaking,
it's unusual.
Yeah, it's not the norm. And what I mean by that is we have no one. I mean, we might have an ATV on a Saturday, and we're like, hey, man, you can't be here, you know. And then all of a sudden, there's this plethora of you know, community, and we're like, whoa,
a little village.
So is that like
there's at least 25 of us.
You would need notice of, like in advance, when you have this many people?
I'm sorry?
You need notice of it in advance?
Well, my suggestion would be yes. You should probably contact local law enforcement entities. The reason for that is this. It's not what you think. It's not to advise us that you guys are out here having an event. It's to let us know where you are in case there's a problem. Because what ends up happening when there's a problem is you guys call 911. It goes to PD. It goes to Havasu PD, and then they have to figure out where you guys are at. Well, if you guys were the first words out of your mouth were to say, oh, we're at the event off of Fathom, okay, people don't need to know anything more than that. They'll be like, okay, boom, transfer to the sheriff's office, now we can respond.
Right.
And it saves time. It eliminates basically lives that can be lost. And so if there's an issue, a medical issue even, I mean, it doesn't even have to be law enforcement. It could just be like the local ambulance, AMR, whatever. But that way they know where you guys are at. And then they're not just like, I have no idea, there's so much vast portions of desert. I mean, we know where it's at because we're in the unincorporated areas all the time. Again, we know that this isn't a norm. But my biggest suggestion to you is if you ever go somewhere with a large quantity of people like you are, just look, you know, notify the local law enforcement. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we knew.
Well, I think he did reach out to the BLM people, I think, to make sure at least, but not law enforcement.
But this is also Mojave County.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
We're a 24-hour law enforcement entity. BLM is pretty consistently usually day shift or you know, based on call out, things like that. They have rotating shifts, don't get me wrong. But my biggest thing is that we are a 24-hour law enforcement community, and or agency for that matter, and we want to make sure that we're keeping up on our community. And so because you guys are in our unincorporated area that we have jurisdictional power over, regardless of BLM, we have enforcement action and we've been actually asked to do so. So that we just want to make sure that in the future, let's get a call, and then also let's make it a known fact that this is state trust land, let's get a permit. You know, I can't imagine you guys are going to be here longer than 14 days, right?
No. And we can all pay for a permit.
But did they determine this is trust land for sure?
No, they're figuring that out.
They're still delegating.
He wasn't talking about that.
What I'm explaining is that realistically speaking, you know, that could be just part of the trip. It's just like a little fee. It's like $16 or whatever, but you guys could have it here, or you could find another piece.
Well, if we would have known, we would have paid
it. So it's an entire year for the permit. You get it. You get the permit for
$15. I got one.
See,
it takes you 5 minutes on the...
Really? So really $15 and we're good for the whole year. I mean, we can't stay here for a year.
You can explain it. Hold on. I want to explain it once. Let him speak. It's going to be 1 year. It's a 1 year permit from the day that you get the permit. I'm sure he can attest to that. But you can only camp in the unincorporated portions of Mojave County for 14 days at a time.
So $1
even in BLM. Even in BLM. So, but then the state law states that from there, after the 14th day, you have to move a minimum of 25 air miles from your current location. Does that make sense?
So if you
guys were only doing 2 weeks at a time,
the
by definition, we couldn't do anything, right? It's by definition, you guys are following the law. So as long as you got that permit, which permitted you permission to be here,
okay, cool.
There would be no qualms.
Okay. Yeah,
so we have to get it.
Thank you for explaining.
You can buy it online.
Right? You all come from different. When you said that, I thought, okay,
Ken! How are you doing? God, you're here!
Yeah.
Just in time for all this fun.
I just got here tonight.
I'm so glad you're here.
Pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
Last year when I set this up,
I did a survey with an app that said this was BLM land. And so I went down to the BLM office and made sure I got their blessing to hold the event. Last year we had about 45 people show up. This year I went back down to the BLM office to let them know that we would be back, but I didn't know how big the event would be. And my app wasn't working, and so I started looking. I downloaded the BLM map onto my phone and I started looking at it, and it looked like we might have been off a little bit. Well, here's what's going on. Technically, we're off by about 200 yards, and there's a patch of BLM land up there that we could be on if we want. But it's a moot point because there's way too many of us. So we're on state trust land. There's two factors in play. Factor number one is we can get a state trust pass for $16, and that entitles us to be here for 2 weeks for recreational use.
That's each person.
$16 a person.
15.
We'll talk about how to get that pass in just a second.
15 and 20 for family.
Is it per vehicle or per person?
Probably per vehicle.
Okay.
No,
You get
actually,
a family pass. If you're a family, you can get a family pass
it says
for like $22.
it says per person on the website. For the singles, $15, $20 for family.
Let me finish on that.
So,
all right, that's the first factor in play, is getting that state trust pass. The second factor in play is that, no, we're going to have dancing. The officer that visited us is going to call the state trust office and give his version of what he saw, and he's probably not going to be very sympathetic to us using this for recreational use. But I talked to him about when he's going to make that call, and he's going to give me a chance to beat him to the call. So I'm going to call the state trust office Monday morning and explain what's going on here and make my case for using it for recreational use. It would help if they can go into their records and see a big influx of passes all at once.
Yes.
That shows them that they're getting revenue.
I got mine.
We may pay our $16 and then Monday be asked to leave. That's the risk we have to take. But I would like to go ahead and see if we can get it and get it pushed through, because if we can be here every year no matter how big it gets.
Yeah!
So, I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know how to fix it. So, this is what I suggest. We all go ahead and get our state trust passes now. You can get it right now tonight. Bob has a setup. Where's Bob? Bob's got a setup up here at the Lazy Days Class C where he will print it out for you and then put it in your window where everybody can see it. And I will call the office on Monday and see if they're going to be cool with us being here. At the very worst case, we relocate to another BLM patch of land, which I will establish if we can't be here and we've lost the $16. The best case, we're good to go ongoing. So I would recommend everybody go ahead, roll the dice on the $16 and we'll take our chances.
Aja,
What?
this is so intense.
Oh my God, are you filming me?
Yeah, hi.
I know, that was a lot going on.
Were you here when they first arrived?
No, I was still back at camp.
He approached us, Jamie or whatever, and was like, "You're all gonna be arrested." Like, no joke.
Wow.
They didn't ask if we had permits. They just said, "You're gonna be arrested." And then we were like, "Oh my gosh, can we please like talk this out? I don't think you have enough handcuffs for all of us."
I know, right? Are you gonna shove everybody in the SUV?
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, and they come out with one truck and two. I was like,
exactly. If they were gonna arrest everybody, they would have came out with the bus.
I don't walk up to Laura.
We're having a meeting at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so tell everybody around you that you camp with, come in, and I'm just basically going to reiterate what I just said. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Real quick, just as a matter of housekeeping, without the permit, it's a Class 3 misdemeanor, and they could be back on Monday. They could be back on Monday if, you know, the State Trust Land Department doesn't go for it. So we could be moving to another location, but if that happens, I'll find out quick and I'll get us a secondary location swiftly. We're still going to have the event. It's just a matter of where.